Welcome to part 2 of the Gameweek 1 preview, and in this video we're going to be taking a look at my latest squad and the changes I've made since my first draft. So in goal, Ben Foster keeps his place. I still think he's the best 4.5 option. West Brom are usually fairly solid defensively, and I think they have pretty good fixtures in the opening 3 weeks. In defence, it's an all-new starting back three. I had the likes of Dan and Williams in my first draft, and I was even planning on taking Van Dijk at one point, but I've spent a little bit more in midfield now, so I've had to make sacrifices in defence. I think Valencia's form in pre-season makes him an option to consider. He's picked up 4 assists and looks to have nailed down a starting place for now. Stones has obviously moved to Man City, and at 5 million he looks a good option. I'd expect him to go straight into the starting 11, given that Man City are low on defenders. They've played Fernando and Kolarov at centre-back during pre-season, and Stones has kept himself in good condition by featuring in Everton's pre-season games. George Friend also comes into my team. He's quite a popular pick for Game Week 1, I guess based on how solid Middlesbrough were in the Championship last season. But I'm picking him mainly on the basis of him having a good fixture Game Week 1. That's probably the only time I'll play him, because I am planning on using my wildcard in time for Game Week 4. So moving on to midfield, again there are quite a few changes. I've got rid of De Bruyne due to his lack of pre-season, and I've gone for Mahrez, Redmond, Firmino and Hazard. I'm not completely sold on Mahrez just yet. I like the look of Leicester's opening fixtures, but I am wary of the fact that he's still being linked with a move away from Leicester, and that of course could affect his mentality. But he's in there for now. Nathan Redmond makes the team, primarily because I've had to lose Shane Long, who I am a fan of, but there are 3 other strikers that I prefer, so Redmond comes in for now. He has been playing out of position in pre-season as a second striker alongside Shane Long, and he scored a couple of goals, so I am quite happy to start with him. Roberto Firmino is in there, based on the fact that I quite fancy Liverpool to score a few goals past Arsenal. The Gunners have a ton of players missing through injury, and a number of players who didn't feature in pre-season because of their extended rest from the Euros. So it's Arsenal and Burnley as the first 2 fixtures for Firmino, but I'll probably sell him prior to his Game Week 3 fixture against Spurs. And Hazard keeps his place from my first draft. He's looked great in pre-season. He's played in quite a free role, which allows him to do little defensive work, and I can see him getting back to his best this season. Moving on to my forwards, I've got Aguero, Vardy and Andre Gray. So the only change from my first draft is that Vardy comes in place of Shane Long. Just looking at those opening fixtures for Leicester, I had to include Vardy. They've got Hull and Swansea in their first 3, and the other is against an Arsenal side that are unlikely to be able to field their strongest team. Aguero needs no explanation really. He's arguably the best striker in the league, and he'll be my captain for each of the first 3 fixtures. And Andre Gray keeps his place after his fantastic pre-season, where he scored 9 goals in 6 appearances, so he definitely looks ready for the start of the season. And finally, here's a look at my bench. Jakupovic is there as my second goalkeeper. As it stands, he's still looking like a 4 million option who'll be starting, though I don't ever plan on playing him over Foster. Etienne Capoue looks like a decent 4.5 midfielder. Again, he's just there for cover from the bench. He's a starter, so he'll get 2 points if I ever need him to come off the bench. With Williams signing for Everton, Amat looks quite likely to start at Swansea, and he's just 4 million. Another 4 million option from Swansea is Kingsley, who's played at left back throughout pre-season, so I'll be going for one of those 2. I haven't completely decided yet. But again, I am planning on using an early wildcard, so I won't be too worried if the one I go for ends up losing their place. And finally, Kone completes my squad. I initially had him in because of Sunderland's Game Week 2 fixture against Middlesbrough, but he's reportedly about to sign for Everton, and I imagine he'll be a starter, providing they play a 3-5-2 formation. So that's something I may yet change. It all depends on whether he does look likely to be a starter for Everton, if the move does indeed go through. But I like Everton's fixtures from Game Week 2 onwards, so I would like to keep him. So that's my current draft. Let me know your thoughts as always in the comments below, and feel free to post your current draft. Be sure to check out part 1 of the Game Week 1 preview, if you haven't already, which looked at my 4 players to watch. And just before I sign off, I want to quickly remind everyone that the Football Survivor game will start this weekend, alongside FPL. There's a link in the description to join the FPLtips League on Football Survivor, and the prize for the winner of that league will be a Premier League football shirt of your choice. It is free to sign up, so definitely get involved, but it is different to the usual FPL game, so here's a short video on how to play. Football Survivor is a simple free-to-play game for football fans to play with their mates alongside the Premier League. It's like fantasy football, but much easier. To get started, simply create a league, give it a name, and invite all your mates to join. The rules are simple. Each week, choose one team from the Premier League who you think will win their fixture. Each player starts with 10 lives. If your chosen team wins, you keep all your lives, but if they draw or lose, you lose lives. What's the catch? You can only pick each team once, so choose wisely. The last player alive wins the league. If you're a football fan who enjoys the challenge against your mates to prove you're the #1 fan, this is the game for you. Visit footballsurvivor.co.uk to get started.